Hello, welcome to the second video in a two-part series on skiing. If you have yet to check out our first video on the history of skiing, be sure to check out that video before continuing this one. Skiing has changed tremendously since the early days of skiing simply out of necessity. Now, it is one of the largest pastimes in the world, with over 14 million skiers in the United States alone in 2017. In this video, we will focus on the ins and outs of the skiing business, such as how they make their money, what their expenses are, and everything they have to deal with in order to be successful in this increasingly competitive market. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. I'm sure this won't surprise you, but ski resorts make the large majority of their money during the ski season. While they offer off-season recreational activities such as mountain biking, ropes courses, zip lines, and adventure Segway tours, which help aid in cash flow during the off-season, it's hardly comparable to the percentage of revenue that comes from the winter months. I had the distinct pleasure of interviewing John Merriman, the CFO of Copper Mountain, Colorado, and he told me that most mountains, Copper included, make at least 70% of their revenue in the ski season. Ski resorts make most of their money through the sale of lift tickets and day passes. Other winter revenue sources include ski lessons, the sale of food, drink, and ski equipment, and the sale of property around the resort village. As ski lift ticket prices go well beyond $100 a day, and even past $200 a day at some of the top resorts, you may be wondering what exactly it is you're paying for. See, many mountains don't even own the land they're on, but simply have permission from the government to operate their ski resorts there. So in technical terms, what you're really paying for is the right to use the chairlifts. While the day passes still might seem expensive, you have to think about the costs that go into putting new lifts in and maintaining existing lifts. With newer ski lifts costing more than $10 million and factoring in the cost to staff and power the lift, the $200 a day starts to make more sense. Something that surprised me from my conversation with John Merriman was to do with the resort's biggest expense, staffing. It can take thousands of people a day to operate some of the larger resorts, from store clerks to lift operators, ski patrollers, groomer operators, and snowmakers. These are the people that keep the drinks coming, the trails groomed, and the lifts running. A problem with the large number of people required to staff these resorts is that resort towns have populations that skyrocket during the winter. Housing prices in places such as Aspen or Vail are not affordable to people who work at these resorts. Resort staff is forced to move further away from the mountain, which only makes these jobs less appealing, not even considering the unconventional schedule. These jobs have a low retention rate, which leaves the resorts in a constant state of looking for new help. In order to entice potential employees and retain currents, resorts are forced to offer generous benefits such as subsidized housing, amazing health care, free lift tickets and transportation, and discounted ski gear. These benefits, coupled with the comparably high wages required to entice resort employees, only further the expenses of ski resorts and cut into profits. At the beginning of the ski resort era, resorts depended on daily lift ticket purchases to pay for expenses. Then came along the season ticket, where skiers would pay a fixed rate for the entire ski season, regardless of how many times they ski. This benefits both the skier and the resort, as the skier pays less money each time they go, and the resort locks in profits, regardless of the weather. The problem with this is many skiers do not want to be locked into a single mountain, and buying a season pass at multiple mountains would be outrageously expensive. Cue the Icon Pass. This is a pass that works at many mountains across the world. Many of these mountains are owned by the same company, and if not, they have a deal with the Icon Pass. The Icon Pass and the rival Alterra Pass provide skiers the opportunity to ski at multiple mountains under the same pass for a similar price. This seems to be a new trend in the ski industry. Companies buying up as many mountains as possible and adding them to their portfolio of resorts. While this is good for the big companies who have exposure to different climates and snow conditions, smaller mountains, not on widespread passes, suffer from skiers going elsewhere. A video on the ski industry would not be complete without talking about the expenses of snowmaking. With increasing global temperatures, snowmaking is becoming increasingly expensive, especially for lower elevation resorts. Smaller mountains can even dip below profitability if there is a slow enough winter. That is why there is an increasing reliance on season passes opposed to day lift tickets. In the words of Mr. Merriman, the ski industry is not for the faint of heart. It is a weather-dependent sport, and many things are out of our control. You have to love the sport to truly thrive. The ski industry is constantly evolving with the times and the climate, but for the most part, it is simple. People love to ski, and they'll always be willing to pay for it. As the temperatures rise and the small resorts begin to fade into distant memory, large resort holders such as Aspen and Vail will only further their reach and influence on the sport of skiing. While I'm able to tell you where the industry has been, I'm not able to tell you where it is going. It's now on you. Next time you're skiing, look around and notice if you see the things we talked about in this video, or if any changes in the industry are happening. The more aware you are about your sport, the better you'll be able to enjoy it. I want to give a huge thank you to Mr. John Merriman of Copper Mountain for taking the time to talk with me and helping me with this video. And I also want to thank you for listening. It means the world to hear your support in the comments section, and is what inspires me to keep making these videos. Once again, thank you for making it to the end of the video, and I hope to see you on the slopes.